One of our brethren some years ago spoke of the payment of tithing as fire insurance. Nonetheless, the word of the Lord is clear that those who do not keep the commandments and observe the laws of God shall be burned at the time of his coming. For that shall be a day of judgment, a day of sifting, a day of separating the good from the evil. I would venture a personal opinion that no event has occurred in all the history of the earth as dreadful as will be the day of the second coming, as fraught with the destructive forces of nature, as consequential for the nations of the earth, as terrible for the wicked, and as wonderful for the righteous.
I'm Travis Wayne Goodsell. After my run, I've got some more stuff to add to this 2-hour video. Last night, Church News dropped the bomb. The biggest of all their bombs to date. All these years, I've been reporting on the lies, the deceptions, the crimes, the frauds, the secret combinations, the sedition, the treason, terrorism that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has been involved with. And last night, they presented the evidence. The Book of the Law of God from section 85. And section 85 is about the Book of the Law of God and the coming forth of the Jewish Christ to Mormons, which is called in this section the One Mighty and Strong, and exposes Nelson as the false prophet. And I know this is difficult for Mormons because they have been brainwashed to believe everything needs to be interpreted as a Christian with Jesus as the Christ. And so the prophets of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are therefore legitimate, and Mormons don't bother to check. They don't bother to fact check. They don't bother to read. It's feelings rather than gaining intelligence. And as such, the church knows that only I cover the church news and do the research on what they present. With Nelson, his latest little thank you for thoughts and prayers video, yeah, I expose that he's talking about the day that shall burn as an oven. He snuck it in. And if you didn't know your scriptures, you didn't bother to study your scriptures that he was leading you to, the little Easter eggs that he left for you, you are the one he's condemning. You have to be obedient to the prophets. To the prophets, it's not about feelings over intelligence. You have to obey, not just feel they're true. And so Mormons have been condemned. As the Book of Mormon, or Doctrine and Covenants, and Benson came out, you are under condemnation and you have been judged unworthy, and they are going to murder you. They've already paid the Judas price. They've already hired the hitmen to do it. And with this book of the law being put out the day before Thanksgiving, when they know none of you are going to see it, they only know that I'm going to see it. And they know that this video is likely not to be seen by the right people. And so yes, the 24th, yeah, And so this stunt was preceded yesterday morning by a car bombing at the Rainbow Bridge in Niagara. And in the video that had technical difficulties, I started off by saying it's not the same location where William Morgan had been secreted to by Joseph Smith Sr., of which that 9/11/1826 event in Canandaigua, New York, is what gave birth to the Book of Mormon, to warn you of this very day that shall burn as an oven, the abomination of desolation. That's what all Joseph Smith's church was about, to warn about the threat to America, to the Mormons in the latter days. And so this book of the law that the church put out has been tampered with. It's blatantly obvious. I expose it as I had to redo it. And so this is not going over the document as in real time, and so thus more stuff is coming to mind that I forgot to put in, that was put in when I went over it. And so one of them is that the women that I talk about in the segment that I had to add, they were all polygamous women. They were the list of those who were sex trafficked by Brigham Young with tithing to this valley. It's evidence that can be used in court to show that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints of Brigham Young is committing crimes. It's the financial document. Those polygamous women being listed with the money that they donated, not tithing. I go into that. There was a difference in the book. It is inconsistent. They were only the women at that beginning, not the men. There were no men in that first listing. It was those women who became sex trafficked who were the only ones giving money as donation in this book of the law being recorded. And and so, yeah, I did not see Lucy Mack. I did not see Emma Smith. And I didn't see Joseph Smith's wife, or Hiram Smith's wife either. And that's the thing I get into, is that only the polygamous wives accused of being polygamous wives to Hiram Smith are listed, and they're listed later on in the listing of tithing. See, because the church, with the lawsuits, which I just remembered needs to also be put in because it was technical difficulties, the church has been under fire criminally for tithing lately. The SEC, James Huntsman, the whistleblower, the 3 new guys that are in the court now, and me back in 2020. All of us have been in trying to expose that the church's tithing operation is a criminal operation. I'm the only one, however, that does not call tithing a donation. It's a protection racket that criminal operations use, that gangs use, the mafia uses. And Mormons, because the church told you not to watch The Godfather, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And so you have no idea that your missionaries, all of us who went on missions, were involved in the pyramid scheme, in which we had to pay for our own missions. My parents did for me, so my parents committed the pyramid scheme, not me. And we went out and recruited others to join and pay the church. That's the very definition of a pyramid scheme. It's a crime. There are people in the news lately who are getting busted for pyramid schemes. Just not the church. And so with the announcement of 72,000 missionaries, with 36 new missions being opened up next year, yeah, they're confessing to the pyramid scam. This is the financial documents. This is the receipts. This is the documents. This is the evidence that gets used in court to prosecute criminals and criminal organizations. And Mormons are just refusing to believe it. And I now know the reason why. Because not only are the list of the sex-trafficked women listed, as I explain also, so too are all of the guilty Danites who joined the church for the sole purpose to overthrow Joseph Smith and take it over. And they had him murdered. Their names are now listed. I know you. I know you by name. I know now why you send hate comments and death threats to me. I know now why the church orders you to murder me, to enslave me, to silence me. I know now. The book of the law is the final piece of the puzzle. And they did it right before the day that shall burn as an oven. And the Church of Jesus Christ betrayed you. The devil does not support his own. You have been condemned unworthy. You have been condemned to die by them. So happy Thanksgiving. I've got a lot of work to do today. My Thanksgiving is ruined. After sleeping on it, I've got some more stuff that needs to be put into this video, as Nelson pulled a cheap shot by releasing it the day before Thanksgiving, knowing that nobody would watch the church news on this and thus look it up. Or if I did, knowing that I do the church news reports, that you wouldn't be watching. So this is important, and I will put this at the beginning of the 2-hour video. There are names not listed. And if you recall, it's important. Section 85, you're going to get into it in the video, right? It is important to have your name listed in this book of the law, as Joseph Smith intended. But this book of the law has been tampered with, as it has a list of the Danites when regard to calling it tithing. The penny fund is also part of that. And as I get into, there are different segments of how things were written, and then there was 1845 inserted into 1842 in the blank pages of that book. And I saw at the beginning of it that it was all women originally that were donating, and it was called just a donation. It was not called tithing. It was just Sister so-and-so donated so much. And then there was a segment of I've got the gotta stop the video and redo it. So I hope I remember to put these little segments in at the beginning. And so it's not uniform. It's not consistent. And those are tells when you're doing research that something weird's going on. And when you see the bigger picture that I've been going over with you all these years, and I mentioned the major bombshell reporting that I have done. Yeah, and this is important to catch on to here, guys. Brigham Young, Joseph Smith, and Sidney Rigdon are not listed in the Book of the Law. And as such, according to Section 85, they don't get an inheritance. Neither them, nor their children, or their children's generation. Hiram is only in there because of a couple of women that claim it was on behalf of Hiram. And so, yeah, you see that Hiram is getting framed for being a part of polygamy, using this Book of the Law to frame him with. And Heber C. Kimball is in there. That rat bastard. And so, yeah, it's blatantly obvious to me what's going on. And I know that this is frustrating, especially if you're brand new, that you don't understand and you want to believe that the church is true. And unfortunately, I know you're a Danite. I got you busted now. They list the Danites. I have seen the list. I'm checking it twice. I know that you're naughty. You're not nice. And so, yeah, Governor Cox, his ancestors in there. Congressman Curtis, Congressman Stewart, who just got replaced. Mike Lee, obviously. I found their ancestors in this list. Mendenhall, if she's married, her husband, he's in there. And so that's why she hates the poor. And I touch on that in this 2-hour video. And so, yeah, lots of people are named in here. Your third great grandfather, for the most part, second to fifth, are listed in this this Book of the Law. It is a membership record of the secret combination that overthrew Joseph Smith's church and had him murdered. This is not something to be cheering about, to be happy about, because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has already found you guilty, and they have condemned you, and you are going to suffer the penalty, which, I remind you, it's in the temple. They sentenced you to death. They've used your tithing to betray you. It's the Judas price, and you are going to be murdered. And so for them to put it out right before the 24th, yeah, very disturbing that they would pull that kind of a stunt on you guys. So there you have it. I gotta go out running and gotta get this stuff done today. Thanksgiving is wasted, and not chocolate wasted. Adam Sandler movie. Travis went good soul. I'm just so frustrated. Today has just been one of those days. As I did the video the other day about live hacking on Edge, well, today I got hacked through a program. and have had troubles all day. And I had recorded a almost 2-hour comment reply video, and it was intended to be my farewell in case something happened on Thursday, because I'm pretty sure the majority of you will not be on your phones on YouTube for Thanksgiving, right? Well, at least you guys get to have dinner. And so during the uploading on my other program, I came across the biggest bombshell of eternity. Church news. And so I did an 1 and 15-minute video, and oops, it was plugged in, and so there's no volume. Oh. I just want to curl up and sleep the rest of my life away. So, I get to redo it, and I'm doing it now rather than tomorrow morning, and not uploading the 2-hour video in its place, and waiting until tomorrow for that too. So that I can include the other video topics that came up as revelation from this bombshell. And this may be in an hour or so long anyway. Especially since I'm just downtrodden right now. Yep, we get to do you too. I had some awesome songs lined up, AC/DC, Big Balls, along with Accept, Balls to the Wall, man. Because this is huge. And for those of you who have not been following me all these years, who have not been following me since 2021, who don't have a clue what it means when I post the picture of of the miracle or the way of perfection, and I've done references to it, quoted from it lately for you because you may be new. It's Lucifer has the key of Melech, government. Melech, king, Hebrew. Melchizedek, Melech, king, Hebrew. Lucifer has the key of government, and he's going to give it to Jesus in Adam on Diamond. Elijah, the sealing keys. Moses, the Latter-day Gathering keys, and thus the president of the church, but shh, that's Peter, James, and John, right? Not missionaries. And Lucifer, keys of government. And so, yeah, that one was after conference in 2021. Before conference, though, YouTube shut my channel down, and I think it was Travis Wayne Goodsell here, not TWG, and thus I had to go over to TWG. But before conference, while I was on probation, so I could resume video making, but at high risk, because, oh no, the YouTube Mormon employee might decide to tank my channel altogether with a second violation, which I did the video, they didn't take that down. So yes, it is this channel. They're using it as extortion against me. But I came across from the news that the Southern Poverty Law Center had released the membership record listing of the secret combination of America. Everybody who knows about Mormonism or the Book of Mormon, and thus Mormons, know about the secret combination in the Book of Mormon. Everybody knows the big deal this was, if you're a Mormon. Southern Poverty Law Center, they just call it a hate group against LGBTQIAPO+. They don't have a clue what they uncovered. And so, as I've been going over with you all these years since, the 2016 election of Trump, nope, it was rigged. Steve Bannon is a member of that secret combination. Book of Mormon is true. Leonard Leo, the guy who was the go-between between billionaires and the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Member. Evangelicals for Religious Freedom Movement. Members. And psychologists. Members. And certain corporations that are against LGBTQ and other hate corporations. And guess who else is represented? Yeah, the Church of Jesus Christ, obviously. That's why it's such a big deal. And so, yes, because of this membership list, I can tie the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to every single event since this organization was formed, to any member who's involved in a coup of our government. And yes, in case you're wondering, the 2016 election was an attempted coup by Steve Bannon. And he got it. He got Trump in. He was Cambridge Analytica. That was his role. And so Russia, the Russian temple, confirmed now that the church and Steve Bannon and the other guy that got arrested and the Facebook guy, all were a part of this to get Trump in with Russia's help. Confirmed fact. There was a conspiracy for the election. Our government was couped. Fact. And then you have the overthrowing of Roe v. Wade because of the justices. And so when I do the other videos of the church posing with the Supreme Court justice and with senators and the respect for marriage, which is now the disrespect for marriage because of the church, all because of this secret combination. And we go back all the way to 1981. 1981? Yeah, that was the Reagan era. That was the Russian secret cells The Americans. That was an excellent TV show. But yeah, it's real. There are sleeper cells of Russians here in America. In 2017, I knew about them. They were commenting. I exposed them. They were trying to pretend to be Mormon. They're not very good at it. And so, yes, they would reply back and confess that they are Russian. And I'd have Russians trying to reach out to me saying, you know, hey, can you, give me your Paleo-Hebrew decipherment? You know, they could have just asked. And if it wasn't because of Paleo-Hebrew, if it was because they wanted to figure out the Russian alphabet and its origins, you should have just asked. I did the video where I went over with you one of your letters. You know, they think that they got to be deceptive and sneaky. The concept of honesty and truth just doesn't occur to them. Just like with Mormons. It just doesn't occur to them. Oh, we can just ask? Dear God. And so, yeah, those were huge bombshells that year. And yeah, the blue missionary card, you'll notice that there's a flesh color down in the bottom right. That's me. I was showing it to the camera because I had people telling me that, no, you're making this up, Travis. The church isn't out to get you. And yep, into the shelter I went in 2022, and here I am now. It's just Mormons love to deny to protect the church. Denialism is a plague in this nation. And so, you know, I thought deciphering Paleo-Hebrew was a big deal. To find out the membership list of the secret combination in America that the Book of Mormon prophesied of is just amazing, and to tie it to the church. And yet, today, the biggest bombshell to date. And they did it right the day before Thanksgiving, when they know no one would look at it. When they knew that nobody would look at it anyway, even if they did check the church news. They tried to sneak this through. Because they knew that if I saw the church news, and they know I do the church news videos every night, they knew I'd check. They knew I'd see what's going on. But they tried to do it anyway. Because they're 100% confident Mormons will never check. Because again, they did it. Again, they lied to you. To tell you that everything's fine, all is well in Zion. We have the documents. It's all true. Believe us. We've got the documents now. So there's no need for you to go and check for yourself. And Mormons won't do that for that reason. They will not go to the Joseph Smith papers because they say, well, why? I've already got the scriptures. The church said it's the same. Everything's proven. It's true. Oh my God. And so, yeah, Mormons live in their little bubble world of fantasy land. Ignorant of the truth. And so, yes, in the video of the comment reply, I had to put the definition of moron, because YouTube thought it was a hate comment. They didn't understand that Mormons purposely are stupid by using feelings over intelligence. No more do Mormons try to gain intelligence. They get spirit feeling confirmations. And they're stupid as a result. Thus, morons. And so it must have been the YouTube Mormon employee that put the flagging on that comment by Mark. But I explained that in the video. So the church came out, as I've been doing the videos for a long time. Section 119. In Section 119, the church claims it came out on July 8th, 1838. That Joseph Smith wrote it. It's his revelation, and it completely violates the Book of Mormon, just like Section 132 completely violates the Book of Mormon. Section 132 is polygamy. Book of Mormon condemns polygamy 6 times. Joseph Smith had a section, Section 101 in the 1835 edition of the Doctrine and Covenants, on monogamy, condemning polygamy. I have a couple who watch my videos who have been seen by the missionaries, and so they've been doing research on the church. And they found me. Thank God. Because I just found out, as I point out in the video, those missionaries are still racist. Mormons are still racist. Shame on you, Mormons. But they're purposely lying and deceiving and making things up as their missionaries. And yes, that's what missionaries do. But it just, those missionaries haven't learned anything. They haven't studied anything. They go out on their missions. They've attended church. They've attended seminary. That's it. And they claim they're experts in Mormonism. They go around the world. And unfortunately, the majority of the missionaries are coming home, can't handle it. And it's sad. There's 72,000 now, but there's likely to be many who come home who can't handle it. But I have to do this again, don't I? Because it has to do with this. At the end of 1837, Joseph Smith's Kirtland Safety Society fell. It failed. The Danites were taking out loans and not paying them back. So there were 17 lawsuits against Joseph Smith for this. But he was able to avoid going to court over this. And so he came back and began working on the papyrus translation, as well as working on the Joseph Smith history, which is a visionary account. And I've gone over with you how the Danites have tampered with it, putting the name Jesus for the name of the church at the beginning, as they are the evil disposed and designing persons who are militating against Joseph and the church, as missionaries, going out and converting people to the wrong name of the church, thinking that the Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus Christ, like the missionaries are telling James and Jasmine. Did I get that right? I hope so. Don't want to get your names wrong. And so, yes, as I know about the Danites, and I do scientific research, it's not feelings, and because my feelings are not right, therefore I'm wrong. That's what Mormons believe. No, I do the scientific research. I look at the evidence of the source documents. And so 116 about Adam-on-Diamond. Because this is a part of that. And I go to the Joseph Smith papers, and I check. Oops, 116 is a part of a whole batch of stuff that has fresh ink with an old faded book. It's a forged document. All of those are in 1838. However, section 119 was published in the 1844 Doctrine and Covenants, but John Taylor didn't put the month when it was published. It would have had to have been after the August conference, because that was when everybody decided to go their own way, and Brigham Young did his own thing. But I see from the Joseph Smith papers that I'm about to go over with you, again, from memory, began on July 3rd, 1844, after Joseph Smith was assassinated. So 6 days later, because 30 days in June. And so after this, the Danites had to figure out another way to lock Joseph Smith up. And thus their big coup of the church, using the exact same pattern that they had plotted to do during our time. Election fraud, war, and a coup. And if possible, murder. And so yes, that's exactly what happened. The Danites met at Adam-on-Diamond, Newell K. Whitney. That was their secret headquarters. They themselves confessed that Newell K. Whitney was a Danite. Section 117. And from there, they went down to the polling station in Daviess County, where an election was being held. And they were not wanting to let the other person win. They wanted their candidate to win. And so they brought in outside people who were not allowed to vote. They were wanting to threaten the people not to vote for the other candidate and not certify the election. Sound familiar? Yeah. Because Curtis, Stewart, Lee, all had third great grandfathers involved in the original one there. Curtis, I confirmed today. And Governor Cox, oops, and Mendenhall, our mayor. Or did she lose? She was in leading last I saw, but there was no final decision yet in the news that I saw. But I didn't get to vote because the new county clerk didn't send me my ballot. Because I would have voted for Rocky. Because Mendenhall wants to murder the homeless, and that involves the Zoramite Exodus pattern that is part of this, and I'm not sure how to fit it in, but it does fit in. I'm just so frustrated. I am so far behind. I am so overwhelmed. I desperately need help, and there is no help. I'm doing this all by myself. And so, yes, I even found out my ex, her ex, was a Danite. And I don't want to call her, but it would be really fun. Because I know she'd then call him and tell him. And so, yes, the war ensued. Chris Stewart's third great grandfather got knocked down to start it off. And that was what the election in the 2nd district was all about for the election yesterday, was replacing him. And so, yeah, the Republican won, I understand. And so, yeah, good job. You're going right into the fire. He betrayed you. I'm not sure if I saw her name, or her husband's name anyway, because Mendenhall, that would be her husband, not her. I don't know what her maiden name is, unless she is a Mendenhall and she's not married. I don't know. I'm not really interested in her life because she's trying to murder the homeless, which is the Zoramite Exodus pattern that I may or may not get to. But it does have to do with tithing, because you're supposed to take care of the poor. That's what Malachi says. But section 119, nope. And so, yeah, after the election fraud, they then went to a judge's house, the whole Danite group. And there's a long list. Are you getting aware of what the bombshell is, or did you already look at the pictures and go, oh, yeah, okay. Yep, I have done it again. I have found the other list of secret combination members in the religion part that broke off. The Danites. Just, I can't believe the church had such big balls to do that. That's just, but yeah, right before Thanksgiving, when they know nobody's going to watch, and then an extra long weekend, nobody will ever know. And nobody's going to watch my video, because you're all going to be stuffing your face. I smelled somebody cooking Thanksgiving dinner down the hall. Oh, turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes and gravy. Oh, it smelled so good. I've got peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But, and so, yeah, they threatened the judge to sign that Joseph Smith threatened them. And then they went to the sheriff, did the same thing. Forced him to sign a confession that Joseph Smith threatened him. And I showed you that Joseph Smith papers confirmed Joseph Smith was not a part of that. He was in Kirtland, 2 days away. Couldn't get there in time. Was selling land to Emma. And so, these Danites are obviously the enemy. And so, any time when the church makes a claim, I just check. Are they a Danite? Is there a Danite involved? Sure enough. So with Benjamin Franklin Johnson, the guy who did not deny his testimony when hooligans stuck a pistol or rifle in his face and it misfired. Yeah, Danite. Where was he? Adam on Diamond. These are the things that Mormons refuse to check. Because the church is true. We're not going to listen. And maybe it's just because you're all Danites. You already know all this. And you don't want to be faced with the truth. And so you get angry with me and you threaten me to be silent and you threaten to murder me because you're Danites and you know it. You know the church is a fraud. You know that the church has forged documents blaming Joseph. Because I haven't had confirmation of that yet, but this list, and who's on it, yep. And so Joseph Smith got locked up in Liberty Jail for it. He was framed. And while he was locked up, the Danites then came to the members of the church leadership and threatened them to join or get out with their families and be murdered. So David Whitmer, Thomas B. Marsh were among the two popular ones. And so with Thomas B. Marsh gone, and Brigham Young kicking out William Smith and Orson Hyde, the remaining majority voted for Brigham Young to be the president of their quorum, because that's what Section 107, verse 21 says you're supposed to do. Yeah, Brigham Young follows Joseph Smith's commandments and scriptures when it suits his purpose. When it doesn't, he doesn't follow the scriptures. And so, no, there is nowhere in there, because verse 22 is how to succeed Joseph Smith. Brigham Young didn't follow that one. And so, yes, what we currently practice is from Brigham Young. He made it all up. He has no authority. Mormons cannot accept this. They will not check because it's too faithless promoting. Feelings must come before intellect for Mormons. Mormons must be morons. Because they'll become apostate like me. And so, did not see what happened. Brigham Young took over the leadership of the church. The Danites didn't threaten Brigham Young. It's a clear giveaway. Brigham Young was the Danite leader. But David Whitmer was told, Joseph Smith, he's the Danite leader. He did it. He caused the election fraud in Daviess County and threatened to murder people. He threatened to murder me. That's what the Danites told me. And so Oliver Cowdery wrote defense, a little pamphlet. And he's shocked. And it was either him or David Whitmer, I think it was him, who said that Joseph Smith didn't have any plates. And David Whitmer did do a little thing in there as well, in which he said, I do not deny my testimony of the inspired Book of Mormon. But critics don't go beyond that. They don't see where David Whitmer told Oliver Cowdery Joseph Smith is a Danite, threatened to murder people, and changed the name of the church. That was a big bombshell in and of itself, and I just did that recently. You can still see it. It's got Defense, the cover, as the thumbnail picture. Dear God. And so, anytime there's a connection to the Danites, and Section 119 does, red flags have to go up. Because there's a forgery lie involved. And sure enough, Section 119 is. That's why it violates the Book of Mormon. 2 Nephi 26, near the end. I'm not exactly sure which verse. I probably wrote it down. No, I didn't. It's in the previous thing. It's in the thumbnail, so you saw that. And so, yeah, surplus property to be put into the hands of the bagman, the bishop. It's a criminal organization. This is a protection racket that's going on here. This is a crime. It's a RICO crime, as it's now called. The church was shut down for this with the Edmunds-Tucker Act in 1887. It ceased to exist on the face of the earth. Under John Taylor, who was arrested in prison, Grover Cleveland only pardoned polygamy, not the tithing crimes. Because with tithing and polygamy, you now have sex trafficking. It's no longer a polygamy crime. It's now a sex trafficking crime. That's how serious it is when you involve money. So the Perpetual Immigration Fund, that was a slave trafficking racket mixed with polygamy. Because the women were used for the polygamy crime with money, making it sex trafficking. Whereas the men and the children, who were women or girls underage, not ready to breed yet, because yes, child slave sex trade. Willard Richards, the two sisters who were 14 and 16 years of age. The same guy who forged the sealing documents of Joseph Smith, claiming that it was 1843. Nope, 1846. I did that video. Somebody tried to prove to me that Joseph Smith was evil. You should have known that was going to be a mistake. Same person, another person, a couple of years ago, or I don't know how many years back, but tried to claim that, no, the Joseph Smith papers show the document of Joseph Smith buying land in Susquehanna County, Harmony, Pennsylvania, from his father-in-law, Brother Hills. Oops! It was $2,000, the cost for publishing a book. What book? Oh, the book that he was supposed to be writing, but Martin Harris stole the 116 pages. So Joseph was on a timeout, and while he was on a timeout, he goes and buys a house with $2,000. Where'd he get the money from? He needed Martin Harris to pay for the book. But that's not the biggest thing. Harmony Susquehanna River was no longer called Harmony. The post office called it a different name because it has the same name with Harmony, Pennsylvania, north of Pittsburgh, right in between the farm in Manchester and Ohio, where Sidney Rigdon, who is linguistically proven to be the major author of the Book of Mormon. Mormons never learn because they never study. They never fact check the church. And so the money is for building the temple. And as I went over it without a voice, I witnessed when it started naming tithing, because previously it was just donations. There was a specific date when it changed to tithing. I think that was the May 6th date. I guess I gotta check. Dear God. So yeah, I'm only gonna record this video. It's unplugged, so you should hear me. So discouraging. It took so long to upload after so long to upload the 2 hour and then save the 2 hour and oh. All the buffering problems today. Yeah, May 6th, 1845. And they don't even put the year. They have it after 1844, so that you would assume that it's 1844, but as you keep on going, it's 1845. I need to check it again, but I'm pretty sure you can see the difference. This could be when they were using dollars rather than pounds, or it could be on the previous one. No, it is this one. May 6th, 1844. That's right. This is that. Okay, this is 1844. Sorry. This is when tithing came on. See, this is associative memory. I don't have it. God, don't even get me started again. They had been putting in, when they did the previous change of listing the names, to say that it was in pounds, British pounds. They had the British sign for pound put at the front of every thing here. And I don't... Okay, it looks like it's in the column. Yeah. Yeah. They have pounds, and then they have S and D, and some others in the column here. Let me blow this up. Yeah, they have pound. They have a dollar sign. No, it's an S. Dollar sign is after the D. And then etc. So I'm not sure what the S is or what the D is. But it's weird that it's pounds listed on there, because America has the dollar now. They're not using the British pound anymore. And so it's weird. What are they doing? Well, when you know about the Council of 50 and Joseph Smith running for president, now it starts to make sense. See, the Brits are the enemy of America. We revolted. Declaration of Independence, Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, where the Book of Mormon got started because of the leak that William Morgan found out about, the threat to America by the Danites and the secret combination. I've done the videos explaining the chain of them going to the South and becoming the KKK, and then the Democrat Party, and then Nazis, and then the GOP, and then MAGA, and then they're still in white supremacy and all other forms also. But that's what they do. They go in, destroy it, and then move on to the next. That's the Illuminati. They started with the Scottish Riots. Joseph Smith Sr., American hero, stopped it. 9/11, 1826. So Brigham and Heber joined the church to destroy Joseph Smith's church as Illuminati. That's why there's inverted pentagrams on the Nauvoo Temple, the Logan Temple, the Eagle Gate at the Temple Square on State Street, and yeah, the Keystone Headquarters Temple of the Salt Lake Temple on the keystone of the doors. Oh, but it's Jesus, Travis. It represents light. God, what a dumbass he was. So the temple. After Joseph Smith died, people had to pay Brigham Young tithing. And that's the on tithing, on tithing, on tithing. They were paying to get entrance into the temple. And I did not see any legitimate Mormon on that list. It was a list of Danites. But there were a couple of women who were doing it in behalf of Hyrum Smith. That was before he died. I'm assuming they're the polygamous wives. Hyrum Smith did not get polygamy sealed. He would have been excommunicated by his brother Joseph. Hyrum would have asked Joseph, because Joseph Smith excommunicated John C. Bennett. If he excommunicates John C. Bennett, how was Joseph Smith the leader of the Danites and excommunicating people for polygamy, but he's practicing it, leading the Danites to practice it in secret? Because I found Brother Higby in there too. I did the bombshell reporting on that. Orange White, son of Lyman White, goes to visit Brother Higby. Finds out, hey, you've got an extra wife. Brother Higby says, Joseph approves it. Shh, don't tell. And so, yeah, 115 with the name of the church, 119 with tithing, 132 with polygamy, all forged documents. And so after paying for the temple, we have priesthood, there's the priestcraft, and the debts of the presidency, so double priestcraft, because the priestcraft isn't sufficient for the presidency. And so when he goes into debt, more needs to be paid to pay off his debts. It's Brigham. And so laying the foundation of Zion. There it is. That's the tie-in to the bombshell. Not only were they paying to get into the temple to perform the polygamy marriages by Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball, recorded by Willard Richards in 1846, in the Nauvoo temple in January. But they were also doing something else, because you don't see it here. You see a standing law, observe not this law to keep it holy, and by this law sanctified. But you don't see book. For that, you gotta go to section 85. Dun dun dun. The balls on Nelson, I tell ya. And this was a video that I've been teasing you about, but I'm overwhelmed that I've not been able to get to it. We're at 51 minutes for this video already, and so I'm not going to be able to get to it again today in this one. God. But it has to do with Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., the son of Hiram, whose wife, Hiram's wife, went with Heber C. Kimball, was sealed to him, but never had sex. It's just so that she can be taken care of, because women didn't have rights back then. Women were slaves to their husbands. And I know this is difficult for women to believe these days, because they've got so much freedom that they can deny men and accuse them. Yeah, I noticed another man has accused Tim Ballard of rape. Everybody's jumping on the bandwagon now. Oh, I want to be in that. I want to get money from Tim Ballard. I want to defend the church as a Danite. But, Section 85, yeah. It's 1832, not 1838. This was published by Joseph Smith in the Times and Seasons, so we know it's a legitimate document, not a forgery. Brigham Young purposely didn't want it published. Joseph Smith didn't publish it. It's a letter to W. Phelps. So it wasn't published in the Doctrine and Covenants or the Book of Commandments in 1833. But Brigham Young finally made it known to us, and it caused hell to break loose. The one mighty and strong. And so Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. writes a long First Presidency statement on this, because Mormons, because of the publication, are now accusing every single president who does not fight for polygamy to fight the United States of America as a fallen prophet. And so then they think that they're the one mighty and strong, but it doesn't matter. They're all wrong. This is a prophecy of Joseph Smith of the latter days. It has nothing to do with W. Phelps, who was a bishop in Zion, Missouri, which is not Zion in the latter days, by the way. July 1840. Joseph Smith Papers has a document by Joseph Smith explaining this. Many of you think it's Missouri. It's not. It's in Illinois. And Nauvoo also. So it's not Nauvoo. It's the mountain cities of Zion and New Jerusalem. In other words, no New Jerusalem in Jerusalem. It's here in America. And so he then prophesies that a bishop has no authority to touch the temple. Brigham Young, as a missionary, has no authority to touch the temple. Thus Nelson has no authority to touch the temple. Oops. 2019, he touched the temple. He brought back polygamy. Are you being obedient, Mormons? What's the penalty for disobedience to the laws of the temple, the covenant path? Give you a hint. What is this? Because Benson took it away. And so only this remains. And so Mormons are condemned to die because you are not being obedient to polygamy, specifically child bride polygamy of 11 years old girls, because Nelson went low. But you think that your version of Mormonism is the one true version. You have no idea that your tithing has paid the Judas price to murder you. Nelson put out a contract on all of us for our wickedness. That's a crime, in case you didn't know. Using tithing to commit crimes. And so, yeah, it's one thing to solicit without money. It's another thing to solicit and pay the money. Because that sort of solidifies it in the courts that you actually were asking. Because otherwise it could be a he said, he should. And so, yes, when I sued the church in 2020, you know, that Exodus year that all of you missed, it was because I had the financial receipt of the church paying the contract killer to murder me. And the Mormon judges violated their oath to the United States Constitution. And one of them got fired. Magistrate Judge First. I should have made the news, and they purposely kept me silent. And so, after talking about the one mighty and strong to set in order the temple, after Nelson's abomination. Yes, Nelson is Russell Marion, red star of the sea. Stars are in heaven, the sea of heaven. The red star in heaven is Mars, the husband of Venus, the inverted pentagram of Lucifer. Russell Marion means Lucifer as a baby name meaning. He is the fulfillment. I did the picture for you. I've been showing it to you. I did the video this morning. If you lasted long enough into it, you heard the most awesome hilarity joke in the universe. And so those of you who are listening into this 1 hour, you heard it. And so verse 8 is Nelson. This is the prophecy of Joseph Smith. Nelson. While Nelson, Russell Marion Nelson, who is the president of the church. But he has no authority. He claims to be called of God and appointed, because he was Jesus, and the apostles laid their hands on him and appointed him. No authority. Did not follow section 107, verse 22. And so he has no authority to touch the Ark of the Covenant. Which is the authority of the president of the church, the man like Moses. The keys of the presidency are the keys of Moses. Verse 91 of section 107. It is he and he alone as prophet, seer, revelator, and translator. His brother Hiram was prophet, seer, revelator, and patriarch, as his dad was previously. And Dad rewrote the 116 pages. And he is an incredible prophet. It's just amazing. But you don't care. You don't see him because it's Jesus. It's Christian, literal history. And so you're blinded to the prophecies that happened. That's why he's amazing. They've already happened. Not that he gave them. They've happened. That's when a prophet is impressive. If a prophet's prophecies don't happen, because that's what it says in the Bible. Or actually, it's Deuteronomy. Yeah, Deuteronomy 18, starting in verse 20. The false prophet, Nelson. His prophecies don't come to pass. And so we shouldn't be concerned about him. He's a false prophet. But Joseph Smith Sr., oh my God, move over Nostradamus. Literally. Nostradamus is petty compared to Joseph Smith Sr. And nobody knows it but me. It's just so sad that I have to waste my Thanksgiving now, even though I've got nothing to do anyway, but nobody's going to be watching. And so, yeah, they got the vivid shaft of lightning. But lightning is Jupiter, the symbol of Jupiter. And so, yes, it's supposed to be the one mighty and strong who is exposing him. But here's the book of the law. They first call it a book of remembrance. All they who are not found written in the book of remembrance. And in verse 5, Joseph Smith talks about the names. Their names shall not be found. He's talking about genealogy. About the tithe of this people. It is contrary to the will and commandment of God that those who receive not their inheritance by consecration agreeable to his law, which he has given, that he may tithe his people. That's section 64, not section 119, which is confirmed as a forged document. Section 64 quotes from Malachi, which means tithing is to be given to the poor, not for priestcraft, not for the presidency, not for the temple, not for foundation of Zion. Not an extra amount, 10% of your interest annually, which has now been changed to 10% of all your assets, everything you get, 10%, give it to the church. No. this tithe is Malachi's tithe that goes into the storehouse for the poor. It is a donation. It is not a requirement. But he says you've got to take care of the poor. Thus the Zoramite Exodus pattern. Which, being over an hour, I'm not going to get to it. So it'll have to be another video, which I may never do. But with the bombing that happened, which I think I talked about in this video that got silenced. Crap. It was so clever because I had tied it to William Morgan and it's not the same location. But regardless. But Sodom was destroyed because they neglected the poor. So that's what Joseph is talking about here. And it's to prepare against the day of vengeance and burning. Ta-da! The day that shall burn as an oven. Sodom was destroyed, burned with fire from heaven, because they neglected the poor. But it wasn't a literal history, it was a prophecy. This is the same prophecy. Should have their names enrolled with the people of God. The book of the law. And it's not saying that tithing is how you get your name enrolled, but that's how the Brigham Young twisted it. You're just supposed to be a member of the church. Your name is enrolled, and so you need to help the poor and prepare for the day that shall burn as an oven, from Malachi. That's why tithing is involved with Malachi. Take care of the poor, or your nation will be destroyed. We've already had a car bomb. And so that could be the other scenario here. Instead of one big boom, or several big booms, several big 9/11s in retaliation, we could just see terrorism running amok in our nation. As we see more and more car bombs, and you still have to go to work, still have to pay rent, still have to buy food, still have to travel, and yet we could be living in fear, not knowing if a bomb is going to go off and we're going to be in it. That could be the other alternate situation. And so we have to wait until Friday. But yeah, I did the thumbnail picture. Pay up, or something about burn as a turkey in an oven. I can't remember what it was now. So upsetting. And so neither is their genealogy to be kept. Mormons are big on genealogy for this reason. Oh, you thought it was to save them by paying your tithing? Or to be hid where it may be found on any records or history of the church. Their names shall not be found, neither the names of their fathers, nor the names of their children, written in the book of the law of God. And so, in verse 7, it also talks about, and to arrange by lot the inheritances of the saints whose names are found, and the names of their fathers and their children enrolled in the book of the law of God. Okay? And verse 9, and they who are not found written in the book of remembrance shall find none inheritance in that day. And that's the law of God. But they shall be cut asunder. Cut off. Verse 40 of the Joseph Smith history, which is not cut off precisely as it stands in our New Testament. It's destroyed. But Jesus tells the Nephites, I'm back, second coming, I'm here, I'm he. And quotes from Acts, cut off. But there's some other differences. That's in 3 Nephi 20:23. This is the bicentennial year, if you hadn't caught on. That's why I'm doing this now, and then crashing and probably won't get to it until 10 in the morning tomorrow. I literally have been sleeping longer the last several days. I don't know if it's because I'm just so worn out and exhausted and overwhelmed and all alone. I don't know. I mean, my dreams are always awesome, but not such that I want to stay. Well, I do actually. I do want to curl up and just dream my life away. And so he still keeps on going here. And they who are of the high priesthood. It's capitalized. Even the church knows it's them. The prophets. It's them. Whose names are not found written in the book of the law. So they've made sure to have their name written in the book of the law. Or that are found to have apostatized. Oops, this is where they go boop, oopsie. Or to have been cut off from the church, as well as the lesser priesthood or the members, in that day shall not find an inheritance among the saints of the Lamb, Emmanuel, the Most High Son, at noonday. This is the one mighty and strong. And so yes, all the leadership of the church have apostatized and are not in the book of the law of the Lamb. But this is the thing that Brigham Young did. He called it the book of the law and made sure to put his Danites listed in there as a membership so that they can receive an inheritance for their children in the latter days, and also for Zion and Deseret under Brigham Young. Although I understand Brigham Young was a naughty no-no. Betrayed some of the Danites whose names were still in the book of the law, but took their land away. And there's still that feud to this day. And there's one of them. There's the Southern Hatfields. That's it. There's a Hatfield who was a Danite. I thought that was hilarious. And so it could be possible then that his Hatfields didn't go with Brigham and so left and became the Hatfields and McCoys. I don't know. I'd have to do some more checking on that, but overwhelmed as it is. And so oh my God. And so, yes, you can see the change in the book of the law that Joseph Smith did record it, but you see they're all labeled donations. They're not labeled tithing. This was then under Brigham Young, after Joseph Smith was dead, that there's a whole section in Volume B, I think. Associative memory. I need to be looking at the website like I was, going over real-time bombshells with you. Dear God. But yeah, there was a whole section listing the Danites, tithing temple, tithing for the temple, tithing for the temple, tithing for the temple. And all of your ancestors, I know you now. Because I'd always wondered how many Mormons that are still Mormon are among the Danites, and how many are not. I now know. Just like with the Council for National Policy, I now know when the church is involved in a coup of the government. Pretty much all the time. All the way back from 1981. And yes, there's been some big stuff that have happened since then, haven't there? The church was involved. I have the documents. Now I have the church's documents for Danites. And yes, those in government are involved in the coup. And so yes, Mendenhall, hating the poor. Yep. Danite. That's why. But that's going to destroy Utah. But they're defying it. But they're going to blame you for being wicked and not practicing polygamy. Child, bride, polygamy. 11 years old girls. So. Oh, man. I think we got it. Oh, right. Council of 50. Man. So I'm not even thinking clearly. So the Council of 50, Brigham Young created as a secret covert government. Again, framing Joseph Smith. This was a Danite thing. They claim that Joseph was a member and Sidney Rigdon, but no, they weren't. I've already done the research on it. They weren't. Just like the meeting to destroy the Nauvoo expositor. Joseph wasn't in attendance. Joseph didn't give permission. Joseph didn't order it. So frustrating that nobody wants to do their research to check. And then they go out and do a video and become popular, and everybody believes them, whether it's pro Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or anti-Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Claiming the inverted pentagram as a symbol of Jesus. It's right there in Isaiah and in the Book of Mormon. It's a prophecy of Senior of the name Russell Marion. Dear God. And so this was while Joseph Smith was running for president. A counter-government. While Joseph was going to run for president of the United States of America. If word got out of this Council of 50, everybody would destroy the church like they did the Freemason temples in 9/11, 1826. Joseph Smith Sr. saved America then. And Brigham and Heber wanted revenge to destroy Joseph. But everything was in secret because they had an end goal. On May 6, 1844, they changed. No longer the pound was involved because Britain wants revenge on America too. And here Brigham Young was involved with British currency. Anybody familiar with World War II and Japan? Anybody familiar with the Japanese American dollars? They had printed currency for when they take over America during World War II. They didn't go through with it. All that money is now just souvenirs. And you can even find it online. I should probably get one and put it in this video if I remember. Put Japanese World War II pick. I hope I understand that. Oh man. And so yes, this is what Brigham Young was doing. He was siding with those who wanted a monarchy. You know, like that secret combination in the Book of Mormon. The Kingmen with Captain Moroni. And then hilarious, Senator Lee wants to be a kingman to overthrow the government and restore a monarchy with King Trump. And yet was claiming that Trump was Captain Moroni. Wrong. It's just abominable. Oh, dear God. And so, yeah, this is when they changed in May 6th to just the dollar. They had given up on pursuing overthrowing the government. And as we know from history now, it was under Lincoln that they did it again. The Civil War. That's what that became. And so that confirms an established fact now that that's what Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball were using Joseph Smith for, without him knowing, was to purposely cause a civil war using Joseph. It's still giving me grief today. That's what their whole secret government was all about. Is that with this Council of 50, when Joseph Smith and Sidney Rigdon get assassinated as president, instead of Lincoln, by John Wilkes Booth, which there's some patsy stuff involved there too. But World War II, Japanese American dollar. And so it was the Confederates who were also a branch off with the Danites. Japanese occupation $100 bill. Rare old original World War II Japanese. Antique price guide. Let's see what this one is. It's got 3 of them. 100 rupees. 10 rupees. The Japanese government. Japanese occupation collector's set. I guess that's it. Let's see what this is. World War II Japanese government $10 banknote. They're not being clear here. Here's $1. The Japanese government, $1. Yeah, there we go. That's good enough. Let's get a bigger sized one. Ireland Community? That's a watermark. Alright. I'm seriously needing to crash because my brain is getting foggy and I'm not able to concentrate. And now my mouth is getting dry. Yeah. We're about to have a seizure. Crap. And so, yeah, I think I've only had one meal today too, and I think I've only had one meal for the last several days too. I'm really hurting. This is a major sacrifice to get this information to you guys. Are we done yet? And so yes, that May 6th is when they decided to give up on the pursuit of using Joseph to cause the Civil War. And so instead, they were now going to murder Joseph, take the church, and form their own kingdom in the valley here to rise up and prepare for the latter days. And the Civil War people, the Confederates, then took on the responsibility to do it themselves. So, yeah, if the person who sent me the comment claiming that Brigham Young and Albert Pike had communication together, seriously, you need to give me that documents, because I can't trust your word, and I couldn't find it when I looked for it in the video. So, I think that's it. Oh, dear God. It was just unbelievable that the church would have such big balls. We're not doing Great Balls of Fire, no. 2 songs, that's it. That's where I draw the line. But yeah, you can think of Great Balls of Fire too. But that's what they're doing. That's why tithing. That's why the day that shall burn as an oven, that they themselves paid for. Friday is 9/11 in the Jewish calendar. And so, no, snow is for tomorrow night. Oh my God. You know, oh my God. 21, it's 22, so it'd be you, Happy Together. The Turtles. Oh my God. Come on. No, this was not today. I did do today. I know I did today. Did I not? I didn't. I'm gonna start crying. Oh my God. I'm getting pathetic now. So, for Thursday, so tomorrow, after 2 p.m., it's going to start to increase the possibility and then get to around noon. So, yeah, tomorrow the rain comes. Not supposed to have anything right now. Oh my God. And then I've still, because of the bombshell, I've got work now to do. So my Thanksgiving is shot to hell. All my plans gone. Because the church knew nobody would watch. And it's right before 24th. And so, yes, I've got work to do now. A rush emergency work. And as you can tell, I'm just like, And so Danite membership list, biblical law inheritance. So yeah, the Zoramite pattern. The poor Zoramites, they get kicked out because of their poverty, because they lost their jobs after building the Ramiantum with the synagogue. Notice it's a synagogue. Jews only have synagogues. It's symbolic there. It's not about the Jews. It's Mormons. And thus the Ramiantum is the pulpit of the pulpit of your wards when you get up and bear your rote testimony. You don't even have a testimony. That's the whole problem. You neglect the poor. But I'm wondering if there is going to be a kicking out of the poor from Utah. Senator Lee was trying to get a law for that to happen, trying to bring in Russians to Utah to take over the new apartment buildings that they're building here, and that failed. And so then they're also trying to reverse the Bears Ears thing to do mining again for Russia, the uranium. And so I see what's going on, as Putin still has an invested interest in getting at least Utah, or at least the uranium from Utah. Whether Chinese takes it over, that's another thing. Whether it's Islam that takes it over, that's another thing. Or whether it's MAGA Christians, that's another thing. Evangelicals. But still have to wait for the 24th. Dear God, I'm so frustrated. Nancy Drew, Barnes & Noble betrayed me. It was on back order. They didn't bother to tell me. I finally checked today. It's on back order. I'm not going to get it before the 24th, obviously. I got screwed over. So unless it's terrorist minor bombings of car bombs on random occasions, guess which state has a car bombing today? Then I can continue to live my life normally. But if it's a big boom and causes massive need to evacuate, I don't know. But yeah, the church finds you guilty and they've judged you, and you're condemned to die. You're under condemnation. So I'm not sure what they have planned, but I just know that the prophecies make it very clear. And I wouldn't bet against Joseph Smith Sr. But again, they are unaware of how to prophesy. So they do not know of the Joseph Smith Sr. secret weapon. But we'll have to wait and see. But the church, by releasing this so that nobody knows about it, which ties into everything that I talked about with the day that shall burn as an oven, yeah, that's a big deal. and having our election to replace Chris Stewart on the 21st rather than on election day. Yep. Dear God. Now I'm getting the shakes. Oh. So yeah, I'm in a fog and a daze. This might be put on before because of its urgency. Dear God. And you're going to be eating. Man, they set that up perfectly. Those bastards. Okay. Oh, crap. Book of the Law, section 119, from the Church News. Section 85, the Pounds, the Coup of America, Council of 50, Danite membership. Okay. I think we got it all. I mean, yes, there's more details to go into, and obviously I could show documents, and I have all these years. And I did put them in the video here for you. And so if you're not going to check it, it's on you. But yeah, the church is going to murder you. And so, will it happen? And it's already threatened to be happening. The Islamists in America are going to protest on Friday, their Judgment Day, when the 5 pillars of Islam is different because they quote from Muhammad about Judgment Day, the day of rage. So now I gotta end, but I'm getting anxious now because I want to make sure everything is in here. This might be the last video. I'm so upset. But then I was even frustrated when I got Revelation needing to do the other videos that I combined in this one. So, yeah, I didn't do the Zoramites, did I? And so they're lost. They lost their faith. They had a faith crisis. And Alma and Amulek is there. Alma is the Christ. He's the Christ symbol. Learning of the Jews, remember? So he's teaching them about faith. Turn the word into reality. The consequences, the results of the word when you follow it. Not a spiritual feeling. That's faith without works. And so they follow him and they leave the city of the Zoramites. I think it's Zoram is the name of the city, because Zoram is the founder, and thus Zoramites. And so what happens to the Zoramites? They're destroyed. How are they destroyed? By fire. And so yes, there is a Exodus pattern and a day that shall burn as an oven pattern here, because they didn't kick out the poor. I wasn't kicked out. I'm still here trying to save as many Mormons as I can, and I've failed. You're Danites. You are Borg. You are Cylon. So yeah, this is... God. I may not even be able to get to sleep because I'm all wound up. And just... Maybe I'm just going to collapse right here and it'll keep running until the 4-hour time limit and then shut off. And I'll wake up in the morning and it'll show 4 hours and I'll go, oh crap. And I'll have to upload it all before I can trim it off. Alright, I think we're done. I was popular in the beginning. July 2017, almost 40,000 views. and Mormons gave up on me. YouTube ordered to silence me and shut me down, and Mormons are more entrenched into denial land, blaming me, making false accusations, and thus projecting and beam and moding, and thus Deuteronomy 19 for false accusers. Oopsie. Mormons are morons. Stupid. But Nelson's got big balls. And I nailed his balls to the wall, and it may be too late. Because the dualism of it all. God. Because with that one, right before they said enough, into the shelter, my life destroyed. I get out, I'm here, I survived, I got some of the stuff, got the most important stuff, and then boom, bombshell, and then day that shall burn as an oven. I told you, the church is out to get me.